If you ever think you're weird, wait till you see me. I collect these because earthquakes, other natural disasters, and then it kind of became a hobby. Now I'm just gonna very simply describe the difference between what kind of protection a hard hat offers, like a traditional hard hat like these, regardless of whether they're made using plastic, carbon fiber, or fiber metal, and that of a safety helmet. Basically, the shell of a hard hat is designed to break upon impact, and that's basically how it absorbs shock. So hard hats usually protect from falling objects from height, like this, like this. And then the shell breaks if the impact is like large enough, thus absorbing the shock. The chin strap of a hard hat is actually designed to basically snap or break when the shell actually experiences an impact, like basically the transfer of shock waves. Basically, you get what I mean. Transfer of shock, as I would put it. And then some of my friends went on to like lightheartedly joke about. They just say stuff like, "Hey, why not I just wear the shell of the hard hat instead of the suspension?" And that kind of defeats the purpose of even wearing a hard hat in the first place. You see, for type 1 hard hats, there is actually space in between the suspension and the shell. Like, there is actually space in between, and that is actually intentional. So, during a large impact, the shell actually breaks, and your chin strap, if you're wearing one, breaks. And because the shell has already absorbed the shock, this part, the suspension, the part that's actually resting on your head, you wouldn't really feel it as much. So that's basically what it's designed to do. Type 2 hard hats, like with all the styrofoam lining and all that kind of thing, whatever material it's made out of, that one also protects from, like, let's say falling objects. Like, it still has the basic protection of a regular hard hat. It's just that when it comes to like uh, lateral collisions or blows to the side like this, because there is like the styrofoam to help you absorb the shock like this, or let's say when you trip and fall and you strike the ground like this, so the styrofoam basically helps absorb the shock as well. This is something that type 1 hard hats are not that good at doing, which is why, like, for workplaces that they still have the objects falling from height risk, it's still there, but if they want to focus more on like lateral protection, like let's say window cleaners, like work at height, especially if you're tied to a harness, tree pruning, or maybe areas where you have to squeeze into tight spaces and you don't really want the height of the hard hat to be obstructing you, those are the times whereby those workplaces would opt for safety helmets as opposed to traditional hard hats. Because I'm just going to say this very generally, like for hard hats, the gap between the suspension and the shell is actually, there is quite a big gap. But for safety helmets, the gap is actually reduced in most cases, or even non existent. Because again, it's supposed to prioritize like protection, lateral protection, as opposed to like just protection from the top. A traditional conventional hard hat's chin strap, whether it's sold separately or it actually comes with it, it's actually, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually designed to snap or break upon impact. But whereas the chin straps from safety helmets are designed for retention to actually keep the helmet on your head, like during collisions. And kind of a similar thing, if not the same thing, actually applies to bike helmets. Like as you can see, this strap is actually designed for retention to keep the helmet secure and safe on your head when you get into an accident, as opposed to the chin strap of a hard hat, which is designed to break upon impact. This is also why the chin strap of safety helmets, bike helmets, rock climbing helmets, rescue helmets, and stuff like that, they are designed to be more secure in general. If I recall, the model of this one it's from Trek. It's a Bon Roger Starvos. So this one is a Starvos, and I've done a little bit of research, and the difference between Starvos and is it Spectre? For Spectre, they actually have like a line running across. It's just a design difference. And then there is this like wave cell technology. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it does. It's even written here. And then on the inside, it looks like this. Again, this is kind of self-explanatory, but the reason why bike helmets actually use a ratchet suspension as opposed to a pin lock suspension on some types of hard hats is because ratchet suspensions typically are more secure, because especially when retention is your aim. Like retaining or keeping the helmet on your head during a collision, which is unlike that of a hard hat. For bike helmets and safety helmets, there is padding, like cushion. It's a padding. Whereas for hard hats, it's usually just a simple suspension. How comfortable the suspension is will basically affect its price. Because when you wear a bicycle helmet or a motorcycle helmet, in this case, you are actually quote unquote wearing the shell or the padding or kind of like the wave cell part of the helmet in this case. I think some helmets have like MIPS, some of them have like wave cell, so it's kind of different. I don't know the difference, but yeah, I just know that it's different. I think in most bike helmets, the shell or the padding is basically in direct contact with your head, whereas this one it's more of like there is an additional wave cell lining, I would say, that's separating the shell and the padding and your head. So to put it simply, for bicycle and motorcycle helmets, you are actually wearing the helmet on top of your head, or even at least the wave cell lining, but essentially you're just wearing it on your head. Whereas for hard hats, you are only really wearing the suspension, and the gap is basically for shock absorption. This one is the shell is designed to break upon impact, whereas this one is designed to stay on your head upon impact, like actually protecting you. So because they protect you in different ways, this one protects you from collisions basically and not really falling objects. Although for falling objects it does offer like some form of protection at least. This is the reason why these can only be used for biking, as in cycling, skateboarding, and roller skating. It's not suitable for rock climbing because of the vents, right? You could get tangled and stuff like that. and it's obviously not suitable for use in construction sites. So now the question is, can I actually wear a hard hat when cycling? Yes, you can, especially if you find this one expensive. Although it is not the most suitable, and I'll explain why. Like, if you observe like construction workers, some of them they just wear their hard hat when they cycle, and some of them actually invest in a bike helmet. Although usually if they do invest, it's usually one of the lower end ones, but it's better than nothing. Again, wearing this is better than not wearing any form of like head protection during cycling. And because this hard hat is not vented, if you wear like non-vented hard hats, especially during the hotter months or like just hot weather in general, it might be a little bit stuffy. Like I'm talking about exercising or cycling or just commuting in general, not talking about actually working at a construction site. Obviously, you would have to wear this one. So I would actually recommend vented hard hats for cycling use if you already have one. Not saying you should actually go out of your way to get one that's vented. Get a hard hat that's vented just to cycle. Again, going back to the same thing. Whilst wearing a hat is better than wearing no protective hat at all, this one, again, it protects you more from falling objects, even golf balls, for example. But especially so because this is a type 1, it doesn't really protect you from lateral collisions well. Like, let's say you fall off your bike and then you hit your head somewhere around here. It offers some form of protection, but not as much like shock absorption when it comes to like lateral collisions as opposed to a bike helmet would do. If it's a type 2 hard hat or a type 2 safety helmet, by the way, I would actually say it's considered safe enough, especially if you want to save the money. Because I do understand that some bike helmets are like ridiculously expensive. And this is kind of like the reason why I collect hard hats and not bike helmets. And also, if you insist on aerodynamics and not feeling stuffy, then obviously this one just doesn't cut it. And when I mean lateral collisions, I don't necessarily mean just like from the sides. I mean like from from the back and from the front as well. It just doesn't offer you as much protection as compared to like what a bike helmet would, assuming said bike helmet is actually of somewhat decent quality and it's not those that you get like below $40 or something. I'm not saying budget head protection is bad, because I just believe everybody should do research regarding what kind of head protection they actually need for what kind of activity or event. Again, recap, this thing is designed to break upon impact, so it wouldn't really protect you a lot as compared to a bike helmet, which is designed to stay on your head and absorb all the shock during a lateral collision, that is. And moreover, the only way a hard hat is gonna, at the very least, protect you is if it actually stays on your head during a collision. Like you actually have to wear a somewhat decent chin strap for that to happen. And to be honest, hard hats with a rain gutter, I'm not sure if that's gonna be of any help when you're cycling per se. Although I do admit that for hard hats with a front brim, they could actually offer you some form of like sun shield. Whereas bike helmets actually offer the shock absorption, like protection in general, and then it's aerodynamic for the most part, and you wouldn't feel stuffy. Now it kind of becomes a problem if the vents actually allow way too much sunlight in, and then you get kind of hot as well. You get kind of like cooked by the sun as well. Yeah, that's a problem. But these are honestly for aerodynamics. And then the quote unquote suspension. Do bike helmets even have like a real suspension per se? Because I'm just using terms really loosely as well. And then you have the chin strap for retention. And again, depends on personal preference, but I think most people would, like objectively, they would say that this one is way more comfortable to wear for long periods of time, especially if it's lightweight as compared to like hard hats in general. Although typically the lighter the bike helmet, the more expensive it is because if it's lighter, like it has more vents, it's more aerodynamic, then the material used for like let's say these parts, they are smaller, so they would need to be made of stronger material to compensate for the reduction in surface area. And when you make a helmet using a tougher material, the price would go up in general. I'm not a bike helmet expert by any means, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, some people actually wear this when cycling. This is what's called a cycling cap. It's made of like really thin and flexible material, and it kind of acts like a helmet liner. That's what it's supposed to act like. You can wear this alone, but obviously these are like kind of designed to be compatible with helmets as well. Like you would wear this cap and then you would put on your helmet and wear it above the cap. It protects your head from like sunburn, and then the front brim also kind of like shields you from sunlight a little bit. But the main purpose of why these exist and why it's actually designed to be tight fit is because it's to prevent sweat from dripping down onto your eyes when you're cycling. So yeah, that's the purpose of a cycling cap. It's essentially like a helmet liner. Like motorcycle helmets, they also they are also compatible with like motorcycle helmet liners as well. And then this one is basically just the bicycle version of it, like the counterpart to it. Like essentially when you wear it, it would look something like this. It's not really that much about sunlight protection, but like the sun shining in your eyes, but more of like protection against like preventing the sweat from dripping down into your eyes. Like it's kind of like containing the sweat, and then because this is made of like a certain kind of fabric, it basically allows the sweat to evaporate, blah blah blah. I don't know, but yeah. So it'll look somewhat like that, or maybe a little bit more tucked in, maybe around here. And again, I just want to emphasize, even though it is definitely good practice to wear one during your rides, it should never, ever, 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 ever be enforced because I think helmet laws are dumb and, frankly speaking, should be abolished unless there is like some sort of like real need for it. I don't even see the real need for it in those cases because it's just going to make people have the impression that, oh, cycling is a dangerous sport or a mode of commute, and it actually turns away people from cycling in general. So to sum it up, good to wear one, but again, it should never ever ever be enforced. And whether you're wearing a hard hat or a helmet, when cycling, you can consider wearing these as well, like especially if it's in a bright color or if it has like lime green reflective strips to make yourself more visible. Yeah, you can consider these. Because I find that people talk about helmets all the time, but they don't even talk about high visibility vests with reflective strips that actually make you seen by other people or other road users. Like if you're a pedestrian, you're cycling across the street, stuff like that. Whichever one you choose to wear when you're cycling, uh, it really depends on you. And I'm just here to tell you the benefits and drawbacks of either of them.